everyone. Welcome again to the Dash podcast, which I hope is going off without a hitch because it changed a lot of things since last time. And if everything's going great, this should go great. But I am Joel Valenzuela. I'm joined again by my fantastic co-host, Spencer Kazara, or Kodaks. And guess what? We got a special guest, a very special guest, Ash Retail. Sorry, Ash Francis of Dash Retail. How's it going, Ash?
Yeah, it's all good. We've just our proposal has just passed. I think the super bot's about to the trigger is about to go. So yeah, pretty good news. Everything came in together at the end.
Yeah, I mean it's been a crazy last few voting cycles. There's a lot of not quite as much participation sometimes. There's a lot of histrionics too. Once in a while, when someone wants something done, something doesn't happen. And yeah, it's been like back and forth a whole lot. But I'm glad you guys made it through. So for those unfamiliar with Dash Retail, which I guess there would be people living under a rock, but some of those people might actually be watching. Can you recap quickly what Dash Retail is, kind of what it is aimed to be, and what it kind of encompasses? Because some people might say it's just an app.
Yeah. Okay. So I think the easiest way to sort of say this is that Dash is digital cash, but for the merchant side, they need a really good way to accept that, and that's both in store and online, and the actual payment service providers that currently exist. When they come to integrate Dash, they need a really good way to actually accept it. So it's a platform designed for either all the way from mum and pop, like one man band stores or even freelancers, all the way up to branches, chains with thousands of stores, thousands of clerks and devices. We're sort of designing a system for all those merchants and all their types, and it's designed to work with our existing local adoption teams, so like Dash Impulse, Dash Help, Dash Text, to actually take the point of sale into businesses and give them this really well set up system that they can then sort of onboard them on really easily, whether that's through the software point of sale side of things or actual physical hardware point of sales that we're also working on. We're also working on other payment methods, so near-field communication, so just tap and go payment methods, and the system's really designed to empower the merchants so they can choose how settlement or payout is done, whether they want to keep 50% Dash and 50% US dollar or 100% Dash, whatever it is. We sort of want to make it really easy for a merchant to accept Dash, but also empower their choice in terms of volatility.
Yeah, so basically like all in one kind of a merchant solution. Now, yeah. The impetus behind inviting you on was partially that I like you and you're a cool dude and you work hard. But it was partially I saw the video of the stuff you put out and was like, wow, this is kind of cool. This is something that it's like, I kind of remember when Dash Retail was like a web app point of sale thingy and had some extra things. And there's always like, oh, we're working on a bunch. Everyone has big dreams. Everyone has big ideas. But so when I actually saw a demo of just like, guess what? It's all there. It works. And anyway, because of that, I think maybe we might as well just play this video. It's under 2 minutes. So hopefully you guys can keep yourselves entertained for under 2 minutes, or hopefully you have the attention span and you don't miss Spencer's face that much during that time. So let me go play that really quickly right now.
Hi, Ash from Dash Retail here with a quick update on our latest progress. Firstly, Dash Retail is live. Yep, that's right. Dash Retail is now live and ready to use. Just go to dashretail.org to get started. Dash Retail allows merchants to use their Uphold accounts to receive their local currency when they accept Dash, meaning they can keep or exchange as much Dash as they want. Next up, Dash adoption teams are trying out Dash Retail. Dash adoption teams are now using Dash Retail and providing feedback. Shout out to Dash Impulse, Dash Help and Support Center, Dash Text, and of course, Dash Core Group. We're also shipping out physical point of sale devices now. We're sending out physical point of sale devices to Dash Core Group and Dash Help. You can look forward to these devices being in use soon, with more devices on the way. Dash Retail also allows for in-store Dash purchase. Customers can walk into Dash Retail powered merchants and purchase Dash right at the point of sale. This is all powered by our local agents who supply the Dash and collect the fiat from the merchants. Finally, Dash Tap and Go payment. Dash Retail now supports Dash payment cards. Payment can be made with a simple tap of a card, making Dash accessible to the billions of unbanked without a smartphone. This modern payment standard is easy and convenient. It really is crypto for your grandma. I can't understate how much of a game changer these payment cards will be. They work offline, they only cost cents to produce, you can control them with a smartphone, they can be made completely trustless in time, you could top them up, your kids can top them up, even your grandkids can top them up. It'll allow Dash to really bank the billions of unbanked without requiring them to have a smartphone and do it in a non-custodial way. That's the latest from me. Thank you for watching. If you do have questions, put them in the comments below and I'll get right back to you. Otherwise, our new proposal is currently live and your support will allow us to continue this work. Thank you.
Wow, that was pretty cool. Now, for anyone who might not have missed that part, it was just a demo of the entire suite of products that are currently available through Dash Retail. And so, first off,
really quick too.
Yeah,
I mean, like, you guys had to like cram a lot into that video.
Yeah, we did a really technical demo beforehand, and one of the M&Os who we talked to quite regularly said that it was a bit too boring and that some Mossers only have a couple of minutes to review a proposal. So they said just make it quick, show them what you've got, because there is a lot to cram in. But yeah, we managed to do it. I managed to turn around a video in about 1 day with 3 days left in the proposal cycle to sort of show people what we've been up to in a more interesting way than a technical.
So, as far as payments go in the space, like obviously you guys know I have developed payment software as well, so I'm kind of like that's kind of my area of specialty. 1 second. Sorry, my dogs are fighting, so that took me 1 second. Anyway, so back to what I was saying is we've always kind of considered like, or at least I have always kind of considered like BitPay to be the gold standard of interfaces as far as like merchants, ease of use. I love the sliding percentage of, being able to pick how much Dash you keep versus fiat. Merchants love that, as well as a lot of the other features that you guys have put in there. To me, you guys have really done a bang up job. And I think I posted on Reddit the other day about, I think I had a comment that said, this is genius. Finally, a real point of sale system for Dash. And it sounds funny coming from me, but it's true. And I absolutely feel that way. You guys have done a bang up job. And, obviously I've always been very vocal about supporting you guys because I think that you guys are one of Dash's dream teams, so to speak.
Yeah. So
thank you.
Let's just to break down what it all is. So first off, you got a point of sale app. So it's not in the App Store or anything like that yet, is it?
No, we have both an Android and iOS app and a web app, but the Android and iOS apps are currently being tested and not published live yet. We might struggle a little bit with the publishing, particularly on iOS, because it is pretty much a web app. But we'll cross that bridge. We will publish the apps.
Yeah, of course. So you got an app. The merchant can go in and they can accept Dash payments, and in the back end they can choose if they want to. They can use a sliding percentage scale, I guess, of like how much of each payment do they want to receive and keep in Dash versus fiat. So that option only available if they link an Uphold account.
So they effectively use their Uphold account for the settlement. One big thing with Dash Retail, because it's all, it's all going to be sort of owned by the DAO for this sort of structure, is we want it to be partner agnostic. So rather than meaning they can work with any partner rather than being specifically tied to Uphold. So all you have to do is log into your Uphold account and they provide instant converting addresses to fiat. So you use those, you just put one of those as a settlement address. And then it will immediately split that payment according to your settlement preferences. So you can say, hey, I want 50% to go to this Dash wallet and 50% to go to my Uphold account. And then it'll split out like that. As soon as Uphold receives the Dash, they'll instantly convert it into fiat and you can withdraw that. And obviously Uphold supports so many currencies now, and they're even doing free withdrawals, free deposits, and pretty much free exchanges now. This is one of their latest updates. So that's all really good for merchants, and it's really empowering. If there are other companies that do this as well, it's not just Uphold. They're the one that we chose to demonstrate because they're the most well-known really in the space. But there's a few other exchanges. CoinSmart's one of them that do these auto-converting addresses. So you can immediately deposit your Dash into CoinSmart and receive Canadian dollar, US dollar, whatever it is, basically. Really.
Yeah. So how easy would it be to say plug it into a Coinbase? Just as easy, except Coinbase doesn't do auto
Um,
conversion, right?
Yeah, so Coinbase don't do the auto conversion. We've looked into adding sort of plugin structure. So you could say, hey, I actually want to use Binance, but then you would provide your Binance API key, and then it would also do the trade for you into whatever you wanted to do in your Binance account.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also, the point of it is that it has to be flexible, so that it's not like, hey, you've got golden handcuffs. You have to use this partner. It's designed to work with multiple partners. Anyone that integrates that auto converting thing can work really well with Dash Retail.
Yeah, I mean, especially, and this is probably outside of you guys' scope specifically, but it would be helpful for someone to come up with a guide of sorts that just says, like, which are the easy auto convert type partners. I mean, obviously Uphold's a gold standard because you just
Yeah.
send to an address and it can do it. But like, how do you set up, Binance to auto sell everything that goes in? How do you set up whatever else? Because some
Yeah.
people actually, I think it was Coin Payments once suggested, and I don't. Again, they've gone through so many iterations, so I don't know if this is current or not. But at one point, they auto convert feature, they just said, here's, we don't actually do that, but you could set up your exchange address and here's a guide on how to like set up a trading bot to like do stuff. And I'm just like,
They do the auto
and
conversion now.
I'm sure that
They
that's
have
very
0.5%.
plug and that's very like bootstrappy, and some people might like that, be like, oh yeah, I'd rather just do it all myself, sort of. But for the average person who doesn't know crypto, it's like, oh boy, that's a little intimidating.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, it's becoming more of a thing with like Changely and Shapeshift, and obviously Uphold being the gold standard there. I think that if you go into places, we're looking to build a fiat off ramp ourselves that auto converts anyway, so we'll be doing exactly that same structure,
Mm-hmm.
and we wouldn't want to be just tying people. You have to use us to go through this, so it would be, hey, you can just use one of your addresses from Switchly to also convert into US dollars, Canadian dollars, or euros, whatever it
Yeah.
is. So
There's
that's
another
the agnostic
there's
side of
another
things.
level to this, that then I'll let Spencer get in, because I know he's been just itching. So when I've observed, for example, anyone with a bootstrappy kind of plugin thingy, just it just does not work for most merchants. They have like an iPad, let's just say in small merchants and say the US. They have like an iPad that has, their main point of sale, whatever. And if they have to go switching into these weird windows and, oh, it logged out, I don't know how to get in, it's a nightmare. And so having an actual dedicated app, or like a web app that you can like save to home screen, or just a button you can get to, is a big improvement. It's not all the way there. And so this is like, I'm telling you, my like Christmas wish list or whatever type thing, Christmas in July, if we make it to Christmas, right? But is to have it to where you start making Dash Retail add-ons and plugins and getting them into major point of sale systems. So like, I know Clover, for example, they have a
Well,
few.
well, what you it's funny you say that. We're literally already we've ordered a Verifone dev kit. We've got a Clover dev kit on the way, and we've actually been talking this morning. We've got another conversation to go, but the DAP guys, so Ezra, knows the sort of business development needs at Verifone. So we're going to be talking to them about how we can work and implement it directly into the existing point of sale systems which are out there. So there's going to be a sort of a lot of opportunities there, especially considering Verifone have 35 million
Yeah.
point of sale devices out there. Clover have 2 million, I believe. Ingenico's got another very large point of sale provider. So yeah, it's that's the. I mean, the funny thing is that all of this sort of stuff, all of the
Yeah.
hardware devices and everything we're building, even the Dash Retail software, in time it has to become redundant. It has to become built into the existing incumbent point of sale systems. In time we're designing ourselves to make ourselves redundant in a way that we would go to these payment service providers and say, hey, here's the software, we'll help you integrate it, and then they're sort of run with that, rather than it being a separate thing, because the store doesn't want to manage, one phone here, one point of sale thing here, another one there. Like, this all has to be in one unit. So eventuality is that we're redundant in a way, which is a great thing because it means Dash is accepted in millions of merchants as a de facto sort of payment standard.
Yeah, and that's always funny to me because it's hard to just do a hard sell of like, do this Dash branded, Dash specific payment app in your thing, and like if like to just capture whoever ends up trying to use Dash. But what if there's some guy who like the 1 in 10 people like who has Bitcoin Cash who wants to come through is like, no, we have to do a different thing. And I'm not saying like now if you
It's
actually
really up to the DAO. You know, it's really up to the DAO. It
yes
would be very easy for us to add Bitcoin or
yeah, but
Bitcoin
that's
Cash,
yeah that's not
Ethereum,
the point of
whatever.
that though. That's
Yeah,
I mean obviously you're doing the Lord's work, right? And it works great. And the thing is getting into the actual other the non crypto point of sale systems. Now that gets preferential treatment of like, well, this is the button you can just add to your thing, and then they don't care. And then now if someone
exactly.
just
So we
says like,
get
"Oh, I want my other little install this," like no one cares. And I did I kind of got sad a little bit watching that video when I saw it at first, your demo video, because I've been safely recommending AnyPay for a long time, and they're good people, and their product
yeah,
works great, and it's just like the one where like I only want to spend Dash, but I like having, but it's just an easier sell. I can get other people to come in and like validate the decision they made for just me, by coming in and spending there, and it's just great. Then I'm looking at this stuff and I'm like, oh man, AnyPay doesn't have that. It doesn't have like the physical unit. It doesn't have the background, like the cash out options like that. Oh man, they don't have the NFC card thingy. So they don't have the like, oh, man, now I have to start recommending a Dash only system because it just seems so much better. Of course, I haven't tested it out, by the way. Before anyone guys lynch
yeah.
me, I'm looking at you, Derek and Steven. Before you lynch me for talking, I haven't tested. I'm just looking at from the demos and stuff. But it looks like it does more and it's interesting.
I mean, there's all sorts of things that can happen. Like the DAO could even vote for us to open source this. And I know there are some mastermind owners that are very keen for this, and there are some which are very against this because it is, Dash's proprietary software sort of thing. But then the other argument against that is that on a level playing field, Dash still beats all these other cryptos anyway. Like it is instant settle, like Bitcoin. Any pay remove Bitcoin because there has that long settlement time, 12 minutes or whatever, before they can actually say yes, you have this. Whereas Dash on a level playing field against Bitcoin Cash, against Bitcoin, against Litecoin, against Nano, against any single one of these is better. And that's, we don't need to sort of force any sort of war because it's already better by default. And I think that those are the two arguments. And we're not, we're servants to the DAO on this. Like if the DAO votes for us to open source it, we will do that. If it doesn't, we won't. But I'm convinced in the sort of the whole idea of, a rising tide lifts all ships. So if we publish it open source, it's good for the whole sort of cryptoverse as such. It does establish Dash as a
Yeah.
leader. If we don't, then Dash still has the best sort of point of sale really out there, So either way is great for Dash.
You know what? So I have a bunch of extra ideas. I'm just going to shut up for a second so Spencer can get some words in.
Anyway, I was just gonna say, I was gonna mention that you were talking about the other cryptos being, if they were involved, that Dash would obviously outshine, and I tend to agree with that. The one question I have is, so now we're talking about NFC, right? The NFC cards. I know that Bitcoin Cash has a couple opcodes that make trustless NFC cards possible.
Yeah, check data sig and check data sig verify. Yeah.
Right. So is that something that, I mean, obviously it's something we can bring to Dash, but I know that I think I'm also, correct me if I'm wrong, Dash Core Group has a similar idea, but they want to implement it in a different way. Is that right?
I think they're exploring different ideas around sort of invoicing, how all of this sort of works. So I think that it's something where we work with them on how we integrate that with platform and things like the platform opens up so much possibility to do this in a way that gives you even greater control. Like you could write a rule to platform and use your smartphone to write rules, and then your smart contract can check against the rules and say, hey, no, you can't pay it. This card is geographically bound to the United States, and they haven't said they're going traveling yet. Any of these sort of rules that really turn a card from tap and you can make unlimited payments, whatever, to something which has user control. It can have a pin. It can have a pin over $100. It can have all these sort of rules which can be stored in platform, and it's all accessible remotely. It's just something that takes it from that tap and go, which is amazing. Like Tobias, the Bitcoin Cash guys, they are the leaders in this. Like, there's no question about that. Like, I've looked into all the other ones. There's one, Igor Kate, I believe it is, who made one for Bitcoin for the Lightning Network. And how that works is you tap your card on the point of sale, and then it sends an invoice request to your phone, and then you make payment, which kind of makes it all redundant.
Yeah, of course.
Like, it's
hard to use the phone. Why not just use the phone?
Use the phone, exactly. Yeah. So it's something where there's work in this, and everyone that's sort of lived in is amazing. Like, where you just tap a card or you tap your phone, even use Google Pay or Apple Pay. It's a lot better than a QR scanning. Like, the QR scanning works, don't get me wrong, and it works over the internet. It works at some sort of distance as well. But tapping is just so convenient. You don't have to aim anything. You just tap it and then go. Right. And the whole point of the cards is that. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Leads me to my next question, really, which is, so obviously you've done research into what's going on in the rest of the space as well, which is, one of the reasons that I think you guys are so awesome is because you're not so like blinders on.
Credit goes to you. You shared the Bcash thing. I think I discovered that through you. So thank you for that heads up, really.
Regardless, I guess my next question is, have you guys thought about, obviously you've thought about implementing NFC as you have already, just in that tap and go solution. Yeah. In its current state, it's not a long-term holding solution, right? It's more of a
no. It's so let me just clarify. So in its current state, it is a custodial system because people, like I said in the video, in the future these can be made trustless. Right now, it is a custodial solution. It uses a cryptographic chip on the NFC cards, which is not liable to sort of sign a message that requests payment from our Dash wallet, our custodial Dash wallet. So it is not a trustless solution right now, and it is custodial. So this isn't a long-term thing, and this isn't something where people should hold their entire Dash balance in it. It's something where it would be a small amount to use at the shop as you go, and you can top it up using your smartphone as you go. But the long-term goal is definitely to do a full trustless, and that might not be us. We might put in a RFQ for this and say, look, hey, this is good. Everyone really needs this. Let's try and poach Tobias or whatever it is. Get some people really involved in this. Even yourself. Like, we're developers and we're very busy with the Dash retail side of things, but we're not blockchain developers per se. I mean, we can apply our knowledge to it, but it's something where there will be other people who could do this better and really take this and run with it to make it a standard. And that's not just for Dash retail, that's for any pay as well. That's for any sort of point of sale system. And I'd really like to see that before on NFC standard for trustless cards.
Yeah. So I know you guys have a lot on your plate. Do you intend to explore that area, or are you going to kind of leave it as it is for now and work on other?
I think we try and do the RFQ sort of thing. It's really important to us. So it has to happen one way or another. But I would really like to see another team, if there are any blockchain developers or even core group that are interested in making trustless NFC, which is so good. There's literally 1.7 billion people unbanked in the world. Tapping a card works better for granny than a smartphone app. Let's talk about this. Let's make this happen. And we have no sort of this must be ours. We must do this in-house sort of thing. Like, we are pretty perfectionist. That's true. We've done, we brought quite a few bits in-house and shared those out. But it's something where if someone else comes to the table and we can bring someone else to the table, we'd much prefer to do that, really, because there is that level of work going on Dash Retail itself now. And in a way, it should be decentralized. It should be something where it's open to another team to do it and make it a standard that can be used, like I said, in any pay or in Dash Retail.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I love Dash Retail. I got to I hopped in there the other day, played around. The interface is perfect.
Thanks, man. Thank you. I mean, I'm not going to lie, it was influenced by BitPay and stuff. We weren't trying to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, of course. I mean, think about how many people comment. Think about how many people copy Apple when Apple came out with everything, and then you don't have to if you're just a copy and paster, then that sucks. That's not going to last long term. But if you copy, you steal good ideas, and then you build on them, everything is evolution in that way. And so, the NFC, I think people forget how valuable that can be, because, for example, sometimes I have. And of course, as someone who just lives on Dash, this has been something that I've kind of run into a couple times. I usually become very prepared. I always have my phone charged. But I had that actually happen to me. There was some pub crawl thingy, not pub crawl, it was like a restaurant crawl that a friend of mine organized with with all of her law school, all her lawyer buddies, and a lot of practicing lawyers who were interested in crypto and crypto law and just wanted to like experience it in the real world. And one of them was like very excited to like go spend it. And just as he got up to the terminal to spend it, his phone died because he hadn't like managed his battery. He's like, oh man. And I do remember back in the early days when I was living on Bitcoin and it started to become slow as anything, I was waiting for so long for a confirmation that by the time I could like get stuff in my wallet and try to spend it, my phone died, and then I just had to skip lunch because there went my money. It's just my money's battery went off, and then just like and then I've been a champion debugger for the Dash wallets because I'm just always trying to use it, and there's always this weird like connectivity problem that just causes this edge case and just like things like that. Like, oh, sorry, grab the Wi-Fi automatically, and then it's hang on, it didn't work right, and then just that backup of here you go, beep, there you go, is like
yeah. I mean,
it's huge.
There's so much of that. Like you've lived on Dash, spending Dash. Obviously, you live in New Hampshire. You're close to the NEP guy, so you know all about like using these point of sale systems. Kodak's has built one. We built one. Like it's something where we're actually the best sort of group to be discussing this. Really, I think even like you said with the phone running out, obviously with Dash Text, that's another custodial solution that works for people without smartphones. So you just send a text message. If you don't have internet, you can do that. But the other thing is the NFC compatibility can be used to do serialized transactions. So you tap the phone on it, and if your phone doesn't have internet, it will then send a serialized transaction over Bluetooth to the device to then broadcast. So that means you can send payments offline as well. Like there's quite a lot of cool stuff that people have done with this in the past, and they sort of touched upon it and then sort of walked away from it. But it's sort of bringing all that together. But yeah, there's just a lot to it, and I think NFC opens up a lot for Dash, and it's really easy to learn. Like it's so easy to onboard someone with a card. Like just tap this. Like don't worry about scanning.
Yeah.
So I know you're up in Canada. Is that right?
Yeah.
Did you hear recently that I can't remember who. Somebody tried to put in one of the bills, and they passed this stimulus bill recently, and one of the things in there was for the Fed to make a digital dollar.
Oh no,
that got taken out. I think
it did.
Yeah. But no, I don't really like. I live in Canada. I moved here a year and a bit ago now. But even like the sort of local crypto scene, I'm not as keyed up as I am. I'm literally in this office probably 80 hours a week or something building shit. But I'm not like in sort of real close communication with the sort of local scene, and there's not much of one. There's a lot of investors, but there's not really any spending. There's a few ATMs, but there's hardly any sort of actual spending. So one of our goals for the next sort of few months is just to actually get quite a few shops around here accepting it, because then we've got that physical in-person experience as well as the feedback from the store owners. But yeah, I mean, there's some really good businesses here. There's even one of the best point of sale companies that's actually based out of Canada. And that's NetSense. I don't know if you've seen them before, but they do fiat off ramps. They've got integration with existing software, so like the NCR point of sales. They've got a sort of instant settlement thing where they credit you and you can withdraw it straight away, and it's only I think 1% fee as well. So they're a really good sort of group in this space. I mean, there's a lot of exchanges and stuff here, but in terms of the actual legislation, Canada's very sort of liberal, but we'll see how open it becomes in time. But there has just been new law that's come in regarding crypto that comes in on the 1st of June, and that's a lot more strict than what's currently out there.
Yeah. So what is the next step for Dash Retail? Because we did talk about you hopefully got a proposal.
Deployment.
Like, yeah. So what? I didn't read your proposal.
For a year.
Tell me what it's for. The new one.
So really, right now, we've got it to 1.0. There's going to be some minor bug fixes, but we really want to get this out in the field. So we're sending. You can see 3 point of sale devices there. We are sending these out to Dash Core Group. We're sending them out to Dash Out. We're going to send these to Dash Text. We're going to send them to Dash Impulse. We're going to send them to Dash Wall Parking. We're going to get Dash Retail out in the field, get it really out and deployed, and get the feedback from the local teams. We're going to adjust it so it meets their needs. We're going to really focus on that adoption agent and merchant relationship. So that one of the whole things behind Dash Retail was to create a sales team for Dash that's actually structured in sort of not quite a pyramid scheme, but in a really high pressure sales business. I came from a really
like an incentivized model.
yeah, exactly. So I came from a really, a call center basically, well, two different businesses where they had call centers that were completely incentivized towards closing leads and closing business. And that's what we wanted to create. But we wanted to do it in a transparent way so the DAO can see, hey, Dash More Parking signed up 3 new merchants that resulted in 1,000 new transactions this week, whatever it is, So we wanted to create a system that is a flywheel in effect, and it scales Dash faster and faster and faster because Dash More Parking have recruited this person who's recruited this person, and empower these local passionate crypto advocates to really take Dash Retail into merchants and scale up themselves. Whether that's for other revenue models like selling the devices at a premium, selling the NFC cards at a premium, or through DAO funding, but actually DAO funding that's matching the KPIs of Dash in terms of this team are doing really well for our goals. Let's give them more funding and see how far they can take this. That side of things.
So here's an idea, right? So we're talking. I mean, already seems pretty great. One thing I've noticed in this crazy time of like stuff funded by the DAO is stuff. There's nothing quite like economics is everything. So people will do whatever is in their economic interests and economic signals, and sometimes tricking people, but it really makes behavior happen. And so profit motives are great. And the one thing I've noticed with like the DAO is you have a lot of you seem to have like a half and half kind of split in my personal estimation between people who are kind of like in the government program type category of things where they get way overpaid. That's not they set out to do that, but they get paid a bunch, and then they're just like they're kind of comfortable and they just like lobby for more funding all the time and just like.
Are you talking about the DAO in general?
Yes, the DAO in general. I'm not talking about this program.
At first, I thought you were talking about Ash for a minute,
No.
and I'm like,
no, but like people like underperform, and they might start out performing okay, but just because there isn't that fire under their bottom, just keeping them going. Like, oh, I gotta make money. It kind of atrophies and just like it's all right, but it's not competitive. And because there's no competition, you as long as you can make that case, there is that competition. And then the other end, you have the other kinds of people who are chronically overworked, underpaid, and here's the thing, and because of that, they work really hard, and they have a personal incentive to work hard, as in because they value hard work and they value their product, whatever they create, but they get no benefits of their hard work. It's like if they do, like say Ash, you do 100% of your job for the money. Perfectly honest, perfectly great, very satisfactory, adequate, right? That's great. What happens if you work a lot harder? What happens if you do some, but wait, there's more kind of thing? Guess what? You age quicker. That's literally all that happens. You don't get anything. You don't own a business. You don't build it because you just, there you go. So that's a big rant to basically go into. Here's an idea. What if Dash Retail were turned to something, say rebranded to something like Digital Cash Retail, that is coin agnostic, but still Dash heavy, right? Still Dash heavy, still primary Dash. Still, that's like the first thing, the coin that comes on by default. And of course, you can add a few others. And of course, it will be set up to honestly and thoroughly recognize the different payment capabilities of the different coins. So, for example, instant send detecting right away. And you get something like, say, Bitcoin Cash that it's not quite as secure right away. It will have an ability for someone to, it'll have an ability for the merchant to either accept it or, just not accept it until it's confirmed. And it'll say a little like beep, so you'd be like, see payment seen unconfirmed or whatever. Have a little thing that says like that, and then maybe even a chain locks recognition level of like how secure before doing stuff. And of course, connect it with the fiat partners right? Like the fiat conversion partners, and make a little bit on that conversion. Kind of like how like something like Edge Wallet does, where every time you shift coins in the app, Edge takes a little cut of that fee. And then also you could license the back end, like license the Dash Retail back end for a profit as well. So it's a for-profit business that runs on all this kind of stuff. Dash has
I mean,
preferential treatment,
you're hitting the nail on the
and the
head, man, because
diff
that has been our
has
goal.
100% equity, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's been our goal for a long time in terms of the actual sort of, we've been working for, a few years at pretty much like a third or a half our sort of market rate side of things. We've always been, building. I've never shied away from the fact that we want to make profit. We want to build a profitable business alongside Dash and with Dash, and that's something where there's a huge amount of revenue opportunity in what we're doing right now, from the point of sale hardware to the cards to the exchange to the fiat. And I don't want to overpromise and under deliver, but we're working on full fiat off ramps with US dollars in 50 states, euros across Europe, obviously, GBP, Canadian dollar, even Brazilian real and Australian dollar. Like, we're working on these things and trying to make this happen, and that will be something that we put with the diff when we can do. Obviously, there's something huge happening with the diff at the moment. They're trying to get this BTC Echo thing, which I think didn't pass. I think that the issue there was probably not enough details sort of provided, and people weren't willing to do the NDA. But anyway, with Dash Retail, there is a huge onus on a commercial version for that. So the current status with the licensing and the ownership is we paid Dash Core Group a few days back. I sent the funds from my own savings before the proposal passed for them to instruct their lawyers to act in the best interest of the DAO in taking ownership over the Dash Retail source code and license. And what this is, when I say license, it means it's an irrevocable, perpetual license to sub-license, commercialize, use the artworks, do whatever they want with Dash Retail. And that means that the diff can use that as part of their negotiations as well. So there's a huge room that even AnyPay could come before the diff and say, hey, we want access to the source code, and we'll give you X% in AnyPay, and then they can use that source code to improve their business. Whatever they want to do, any of these negotiations can happen, and that's something that's out of our hands because it's the DAO's control software at that point, that it's not ours, and that'll be happening in the coming weeks, that it will be in Dash Core Group's control, and therefore the diffs, and therefore the DAOs. It's something where it empowers the DAO to use that software and that intellectual property for negotiation, for building better software off of it, for even using that software in completely different businesses. So it's something where
I'm really excited about as a diff supervisor. I mean, being able to, like you were saying, use that in negotiations. Say company A comes up and says, hey, we do this, we're seeking an investment. Maybe they're in the payment space, and we would say, okay, that sounds great to us. Maybe we'll invest this amount of money, but as part of the agreement, we would like you to implement, such and such protocol. Maybe it's the NFC standard that comes out of this, or
whatever it is. Yeah. Or even it could be a complete new payment startup that wants to be Dash Retail, but for Malaysia, for wherever. They can literally come to the diff and say, hey, that's all we want is this software, and we'll give you 20% of the business. And it's just like, yeah, sure. If you succeed, then that's great for Dash. If you don't succeed, the worst we've done is given software to a group that we don't really want to give software to. But then you've got contractual obligations, things like that. So it's just another tool in the arsenal for the DAO. It just gives the master owners, the DAO, a greater tool set to use in even negotiations or in terms of building a commercial product off the back of this.
Yeah, that's the real barriers, because I've been in the crypto adoption game for what is it? 7 years? A long time. Is it spending it actually in person? Almost 7 years, 6.5, whatever. And we're still other than my little world here, I mean, it's gotten way better in terms of proportionally, but in terms of how far it is till anyone can just sort of say, I'm just going to close my bank account, live off of crypto. No, we're not there by a long shot. And I've noticed that, so first off, most of the coins just don't work for that. After Bitcoin slowed down, it didn't scale. Nothing else really works.
Yeah.
Dash is the one that works the best, but is as a not top one or two. Let's be honest, not one or two. Although even Bitcoin Cash is not high enough up that list to really get attention. You got to be in the top 3. You got to be huge for momentum to take over. But
Yeah,
so,
and unfortunately, I would say the top 10 is full of a lot of fluff.
yeah, of course. So you got to be there to get that momentum. Now, Dash has also said, well, we're just going to make, we'll make our own point of sale system with hookers and blow. Again, I'm talking to good to meet you, Mr. Hookers and Blow. But well, we'll make our own proprietary thing, and it's going to
Yeah.
be better. And so, first off, it wasn't for a long time, and I'm sure you'll be the first to admit that because, come on, you're building it. Now, I think it's better. I think it's actually better than anything else on the market. And
Oh
from
yeah,
what I've seen.
I'd agree. I mean, there are products which are more refined and have been around longer and more tested. But I think in terms of the feature set, I don't think anyone really comes close. I mean, we don't have our own fiat off ramps, but did you know that you trust another POS sort of system? They just use Uphold. They're not like they don't have their own fiat off ramps. They use their partner with Uphold,
Yeah, exactly.
but they just use it behind the scenes. But I think that's what we could add. We can add
Mm-hmm.
longer term sort of reliability. We can actually sell, but like a store up for selling the devices and things. But the DAO has such an advantage by owning this. Like,
Yeah.
for context, this device costs us $120.
Mm-hmm.
Of the two other companies that I've seen selling devices, one is Walado and one is Salamantex.
Mm-hmm.
Theirs costs around €800. So, we can sell this back to the DAO at the same cost we buy them. Like, we don't need the profit sort of thing. We're sustained by the DAO. So
Yeah.
we can sell this to Dashmore and Parking for $120 or whatever. Whereas, a Walado or, a Walado or a Salamantex device would cost 5 to 6 times that. And ElectroPay is reasonable price. That's about $240. But they're still motivated by profit at the end of the day. They have to make a profit. Whereas,
yeah, that's where the diff comes in, because the DAO is magical, and at the same time you can't run a real world on magic. So the great thing about the DAO is, first off, it can just fund stuff like that. Like, no company's building this stuff. No company on its own is building this, like, showcase how cool Dash is, it work just for Dash kind of stuff, because we're the customers. Like, no, they just do a multi-coin solution, throws them all in the same boat, and then no one spends anything, and then But the DAO can actually do that. The problem with that is, first off, you need a free market incentive to, like, let's build up those numbers, let's make profit, to really get the finest out of competitive building and business building. You really need that to get the finest. And also, the customer that the proposal owner has is the DAO, just to make, which allows the DAO to pay for stuff they really want, i.e., Dash first, Dash above all. But at the same time, it insulates the proposal owner from actually catering to businesses and real customers necessarily. So, like, the DAO might, like,
it's
for example,
very different customer. Like a proposal
yeah.
owner, like Dashmore and Parking, a very different customer than like an actual physical sort of customer relationship. But it goes back to what we were saying earlier. On a level playing field, Dash still is amazing. So, is it not something where we should add Bitcoin Cash and whatever else?
Yeah, but the problem is
acceptance.
That might make your product better. It really might, and I think it actually would. I don't care.
It opens doors,
but
it opens doors. Like,
yes. Now
we could even add credit card. We could add a conventional point of sale services into our system, which would potentially open doors as well. Even stuff like Alipay and WeChat Pay. Like, these are all discussions. Like, how at odds are they to the sort of crypto sort of mindset, and what opens doors and what. Is it a compromise, or is it something that's worthwhile doing? Does it help the whole everything rise rather than just Dash? And will that mean that Dash can rise further? Like, it's
now,
not.
That's a calculation you can make on your own pretty well, I guess. But the problem is, how do you sell it to the DAO? Because you could say, look, I think we can go further, and then there's always going to be a bunch of people whining, well, why do other people get a free ride and stuff like that? And at the end of the day, your two customer bases want different things. If you're just going DAO funding, period, straight up DAO funding, they want the Dash. I'll put the Dash on it. Don't do some wishy-washy, watered down digital cash nonsense. Just Dash. And then But here we have thanks to the dip, we have a unique opportunity to do something different. I'm just, by the way, I'm expressing an idea I'm excited about. I'm not pushing for this. I haven't even thought it through fully. This is just on the fly. So before it says, you're stupid and your idea is stupid, shut up. Like,
Wait, I
disclaimer.
was just waiting to say that.
I know. I saw your little eyes while you're like eating your food. Just give that look of like, I can't wait till this guy stops so I can dress him down. But
No.
because of that, if you create a DAO owned company or a diff owned company, that the conditions are, of course, dash first and stuff like that, but you're trying to do broader appeal. You're trying to become useful. You're trying to get actual customers, i.e., businesses that actually get customers to pay through this, and you're actually trying to make profits. First off, you don't have to ask for money all the time. I mean, obviously you get like a seed round or however it works. You don't have to keep the DAO happy necessarily. You just have to keep making a profitable business. The DAO profits, everyone's happy, and you get to like run a business that actually works with all those free market incentives that normal businesses do, but you actually have some seed kind of funding from Dash and an actual interest in Dash. So anyway, that's just a ramble.
You could always email hello@dashinvest.org.
Well, I've obviously already had some conversations with the diff, but what we've already got, investors lined up, both angels from within the DAO and externally based on my history, to when we do create a commercial product that want to be involved in this. And it's something where there's a lot more pieces to put together before we have a product that we want to sell to investors and that we feel is ready for that sort of side of things. And it's something where obviously the Dash would always receive like those favorable sort of relationships. So it makes sense to keep it sort of with sort of Dash where possible. But there's also the issue with lead investors and having golden handcuffs to the diff and future rounds and what that does by Dash owning it and how everything sort of plays like that. So yeah, there's a lot of sort of options to commercialize this, both as a 100% diff owned company or partially diff owned company or however it's done, But really, that's in control of the DAO. Like they can award this software to whomever. The diff could even start their own company if they really wanted to do that. Like it's something where the oyster is there for the DAO to take and use whatever they want to in the software. Everything that we built over the last sort of like 2 years. I mean, we're not putting Switchly all built into this side of things because that's another sort of side thing. But everything that Dash Retail is works really well, and it can be wrapped up and given to the DAO to give to whomever else and to develop commercially to turn into a business or to use as negotiations. That's the thing why we've always wanted to do this transfer, because we built it for the DAO and for Dash, and it's something where we own the software as well. Like we've got a license to use the software how we want. Same with Switch. We do what we want with it really as well. But it's something where we'd love to take this on to a further sort of commercial route and raise that investment and accept Bitcoin, accept Bitcoin Cash, sell the point of sales at profit, and actually build a real profitable business out of this. And there is a huge amount of money in this. Like BitPay processes 1 billion in transactions a year.
Yeah, from where I don't know.
1%, it's a lot of money. So that's the thing.
Yeah, and here's another spin-off like idea. You keep doing exactly what you're doing, which is Dash proposals, build all the stuff out, build all the background. Someone else decides to pitch a startup called BitRetail, let's say, and pitch it to the DAO, the diff, and just say, well, first off, they say like we want to license the stuff. They start building the business, and then they offer the diff equity for a big seed round of funding to really get this polished, get this out as like a very generic thing. Well, in the meantime, a bunch of little mom and pop merchants elsewhere in the world that you don't need to have Bitcoin or any other thing like that, they're all using just Dash Retail, and then someone else does like, calls it Bit Open Retail or something,
well,
which is just a purely
it's important
how that
I'm
works.
sort of like open with this. Like we are, I'm not a good Samaritan. Like I've come here and I built stuff with Dash, and we've done this at a third of our sort of what our sort of open market rate would be, but we do want to build a profitable business out of it. That's always been something I've never shied away from. That I'm not just like I hold a lot of Dash, so Dash going up is great for me as well. But I would like to build a business off the back of this, and it's something I've never I'm not like shied away from that. Like there's not. Some people are against that. Some people are, how could you make a profit whilst
we're literally
also the opposite though. There's people that are like, you need to be building a profitable business.
Exactly.
There's always both sides.
You can't please everyone.
Yeah.
I'm in debt for this. Like I put in my average salary probably works out about maybe $2,000 a month or something like that, if that. And I put in around 30 to 40 grand of my own money into this, 30 to 40,000. Like this isn't a nice venture for me that I'm not taking risk on. I'm taking a lot of risk, and I would like to make more than that in time, but I'm still always trying to do right.
As well. I mean, I know that you guys always have the best interest of the DAO at heart, and I know that I've had this conversation with other people, and it's like when things are bad, the market's down, people aren't getting paid, or people are getting, trolled, or whatever the case may be. You always look at who's still building, and you and Alex are still here. Joel's still here.
Oh yeah. In
I'm
fact,
still here.
I made the podcast sexier than before. Again, you'll have to see. You'll have to see when you watch the actual recording, because I did put in some cool looking stuff in here.
Right.
But
I could also name a handful of people who are not here anymore.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
And so when it comes down to the brass,
go and get stuff, right? Go and get stuff. The tough get going.
Yeah, exactly. When it comes down to it all, it's easy for me to see where your priorities lie, and so yeah, I just appreciate what you guys are doing, and I hope you can build a profitable business.
We'd like to. I mean, at the end of the day, we'll still be building Dash Retail. And if we did build a profitable business, we'd be providing stuff back to Dash Retail. Like that's always, that's always going to be our baby. Like we love this thing. Like we built it. It's the first thing, that major thing that we built. We built Switchly, but then the crypto to crypto market is very saturated. So we're just like, let's look at what the actual teams that are getting Dash adoption needed, because the DAO was pouring so much money into Venezuela and Colombia and places to get that working, but they were pouring it into point of sale systems that weren't right. And I'm not insulting Spark. Spark is the Bitcoin to Dash that, to Dash Retail, you laid the foundation there. But I think that, we wanted to take that to that next level. And there is a huge market opportunity here, and it's very undersaturated compared to the exchange side of things. So
agreed.
Yeah.
Of course.
And that's exactly why I said on Reddit, finally a real point of sale.
Yeah.
Because it's not, I'm not trying to bash my own thing either, but it's just there's this level where Spark's at, and there's up here where Dash Retail is. And Dash,
I have a lot of love for Spark. I think
I have a lot of love for Dash Retail. So yeah, exactly what Dash needs, and you guys are building it right now.
Yeah, and just goes to the next level, and the next level, and the next level. That might be
the next level, and the next level.
Yeah, that might be a good time to wrap this thing up, so we don't go over too long. But Ash, where can we find out more about your stuff, in case anyone listening wants to come in and start using your stuff, get in touch with you, whatever else? Where do they go?
We are building a website on the top level, dashretail.org, and we will have the usual Twitter, Facebook, and everything like that. But for right now, my Twitter or whatever will be good. Otherwise,
what is your
Discord.
Twitter?
I'm very active on it. It's Ashton Francis, so ASHTON. Francis is FRANCIS.
Yeah, Ashton Francis, Ash on the Discords. And yeah, so thanks everyone a lot for watching. I know this is a little bit of an abrupt change from the old YouTube channel to a new one of what is this thing, but hopefully it turned out pretty well. And as always, drop any suggestions for anything you should change.
We need a new slogan to go out with.
We can't say "Stay Dashy" anymore.
I mean,
stay digital cashy.
I feel like it's disrespectful to Mark almost. That's kind of his thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to steal it.
Well, we can just say, we can do something generic. But it is, if you enjoy this at all, please subscribe on whatever medium this is on right now.
Click the buttons.
Yeah, click all the buttons. Eventually, I'll put a little button thingy that
approximately
pops up.
Right here. If you follow my finger all the way down on
yeah,
there's a like button.
Yeah, so follow, subscribe, leave comments. I do read them.
Click the bell. Get the notifications. Click the bell.
Yes, and also if you enjoy, as you take value from this, I do have donation stuff up. So if you go to Cointree, which is cointr.ee, Cointree/the desert links. It's all there. I'm going to put that on the end page. It's with that also has all the other social links and stuff like that. So it's all there, and it'll flip to that at the very end. So you get to check that out. And now guess what time it is? It's that magical time for the thing called
the after party.
Yes, the after party, which is basically like this, except a lot less formal. A bunch of us, not recorded, just in case you want to do something crazy, not too crazy, and just we hang out and talk about whatever until
Oh, you know what we are going to
whatever.
do? We're going to do
Yes.
some demos. We're going to do some
Demos.
actual
Ash is
demos.
demoing
So
on the
we're
after
gonna.
party.
We didn't do it this time, but I'm going to demo it on the after party because if it goes wrong, I don't want it recorded. No,
Yeah,
it's going to
exactly.
go right. It's going to go perfectly. Come to the after party.
After
Yeah.
party exclusive.
So here's how you get to the after party.
What?
We do it speakeasy style as always. You go to staydashy.com, which takes you to the Dash Talk Discord. And then you just start asking around, hey, I heard about the after party. Can I get in the after party? Hey, where's the after party at? Or if you just know any of the three of us on any kind of social media, you can just message us there, and we will get you in. All right? So that's going on in just a few minutes here. Thanks again for watching. Thanks again for everyone who's donated. There's been quite a few, actually, and I'm extremely grateful already. So it's been great. Subscribe to the new channel. Share this around if you liked it. And as always, bye for now.